Exclusive contract from Feilu Novel Network Novel. Honghuang. Zhou Dabi recalls all strong people of the human race. This is the highest wasteland. Since the beginning of the Dragon and Han dynasties, immortals and Buddhas have coexisted, and both gods and demons have existed. The human race has risen from the end of the world since the 3 emperors and 5 emperors, and has finally made a name for itself among the countless tribes, becoming the protagonist of the times. However, there are more than just immortals and thieves. The gods and Buddhas forced the human race to set a grand ratio of 10,000 races. As long as the human race loses 50, they want to not only exterminate it, but also seize the human race's turbulent weather luck and the position of the protagonist of the vast world. As the human race lost 19 consecutive games and was about to be wiped out, Xuan crossed over with the ancestral order of the human race and issued an order to recall all the strong members of the human race. On that day, Zhou Qing, the human race, asked the gods and Buddhas to die all over the sky. 33 days away, Zhou Qing alone faced the gods and Buddhas all over the world, and endless blood rained down on them. I will pave the way for future generations. Through heaven and earth, end the enemies of ancient and modern times. I am the heavenly emperor of the human race, and I will suppress all enemies in the world. I have a sword that can slay demons, defeat gods, conquer heaven, abolish religion, and slay saints. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. 1. In the highest flood and wilderness, did the human race lose its position as the protagonist of heaven and earth? You are listening at novelfull.audio. 1. In the highest flood and wilderness, did the human race lose its position as the protagonist of heaven and earth? Swordsman, the ruler of 100 soldiers. The ancestor of short soldiers. He is the first weapon of a cultivator to protect the path. With a subtle and mysterious voice, one cannot help but feel immersed in it from the heart. Zhang Xian's gaze swept around in confusion. Keep the surrounding scenes in view. It should be inside a wooden pavilion, with a decoration color that leans towards dark and full of a heavy temperament. In Zhang Xian's opinion, this kind of decoration color is somewhat novel. At least in modern society, black is rarely used as the background color for decoration. Sitting beside him were young people in white clothes. Everyone had sharp and calm eyes, listening attentively to what the person sitting on the high platform in front of them was saying. On the high platform was a middle-aged man in blue, full of a carefree and unrestrained temperament, sitting cross-legged on a soft cushion. Showcasing a different identity and status. So is this a classroom? But why are their clothes so strange? It's a bit like ancient costume. Doubts surged in Zhang Xian's mind. In the next moment, a surging memory appeared in my mind. In just a few breaths, Zhang Xian knew what had happened to him. Time travel. This body, also known as Zhang Xian, has no difference in appearance or physique from him. And this is Xian Qin. Year by year, according to the immortal Qin calendar. 100,000 years. Hush. China has only been around for 5,000 years, and this immortal Qin kingdom has a history of 100,000 years. Zhang Xian is a bit confused about what kind of country this is. How could it exist for so long? And now, the middle-aged man in green clothes standing on the stage is actually Li Bai. This I thought Xian Qin was related to the Qin dynasty in his past life memories, but now it seems that this is not entirely the case. At least, in the original history of the Qin dynasty, there was no such person as Li Bai. The appearance of Li Bai at least dates back to the Tang dynasty. But there is no Tang dynasty here. Zhang Xian's thoughts surged and fell into his original memories. This is actually the highest wasteland. The historical trend of the wilderness here is different from what he saw in books in his previous life. Those innate gods and demons that fell from the beginning of the Dragon Han cataclysm still exist today. Zhang Xian found the reason in his memory. Unexpectedly, it is because the great powers of this world will not truly die. Or rather, it can lead to death, but it requires extremely strong abilities to completely eliminate Dala-level creatures. Otherwise, even after being temporarily killed, the strong individuals at the level of Dala will return from the long river of time. In the memory received by Zhang Xian, he was shocked to find that those immortal Buddhas who should have died in various calamities. So far, surprisingly, it still exists in the world. In addition, there are other differences in his understanding from his previous life. The overall trend of the flood and famine history, although different from what Zhang Xian knew in the early stage, is not significant. However, after the birth of the human race, the entire form of the flood and famine has been completely reversed. There are 3 emperors before and after, and 5 emperors after. After enduring hardships, he led the human race to rise in the wilderness. Gradually, let the human civilization grow from scratch. The 3 emperors and 5 emperors also gained humanitarian merit for their contributions to the human race. Being ordained by humanity to become a saint of humanity, possessing tremendous power, no less than a saint of the heavenly way. All living beings in the wilderness have finally begun to face the human race. However, a greedy gaze also followed closely. The 3 emperors and 5 emperors were also confined to the Huiyan cave people's palace due to the scheming of the sages. Immediately, all ethnic groups saw that the top combat power of the human race was trapped and did not hesitate to take action against the human race. First, the witch tribe kept the human race in captivity, and then the demon tribe refined the witch-slaying sword. Countless human races died tragically in the hands of other races. Finally, under the guidance of countless immortal gods, the sect of saints was worshipped and thus protected. Starting from the Zhou dynasty, the emperor was even demoted to the position of emperor. From then on, people are under heaven, and the emperor must be under God. Are the human race willing to become vassals of immortals? Of course, no. Never. Later, there was also the Yin and Shang dynasties, intending to reunite the human race and resist the immortal gods. Unfortunately, under the calculation of the immortal gods, everything came to nothing. Until the Warring States period, the emergence of Yingzheng from the Qin to Zhao families. Yingzheng, known as the first emperor, secretly cultivated the power of cultivators belonging to the human race, finally becoming the immortal Qin dynasty. The human race is no longer dependent on the gods and immortals in the sky. After the beginning of emperorship, he decided not to worship the gods and not to respect the Buddha. This decision will completely tear apart the faces of the human race and immortals. The heavenly way sage is angry and determined to rebuild the human race. However, the human race is not a vegetarian either. After going through a series of wars, the rule that saints cannot appear directly in the wilderness after being crowned as gods. The gods and Buddhas in the sky have discovered that their influence in the wilderness is temporarily beyond the control of the Xianqin dynasty. Unable to form a crushing situation, how can we remake the human race? If it is necessary to forcibly wash the human race, it is also necessary. But I'm afraid the power of the sages in the wilderness will also be greatly affected. More importantly, as the protagonists of heaven and earth, slaughtering the human race will erode the merits of heaven and earth. So in the stalemate of the war, the saints of the gods and Buddhas, who did not want to lose their own power and merits, came up with a solution. Mantian Shenfo and Xianqin reluctantly negotiated and re-established a new rule. The great comparison of 10,000 clans. Zhang Xian's thoughts were surging, but he didn't notice inside the pavilion. The mysterious sound of the Tao has come to a stop. Zhang Xian. Zhang Xian. A small, gentle, and thought-provoking sound came from Zhang Xian's side. Zhang Xian suddenly woke up with a start. Looking up, I noticed that the students around me were all turning their heads to look at him. The student closest to him is gesturing with his eyes, constantly turning left and right. Zhang Xian's gaze quickly searched and finally understood the source of the problem. Li Bai, a middle-aged man in green clothes sitting high on the podium, was looking at him with dissatisfaction. Zhang Xian. Why don't you concentrate on listening? A loud and clear voice echoed indoors, and Li Bai's gaze towards Zhang Xian was full of scrutiny. Zhang Xian's heart suddenly tightened, and memories of his original body suddenly emerged in his mind. This is the Human Kendo Academy. Search for young people with top-notch swordsmanship talents from the human race, and find highly resource-oriented places to cultivate them. What is cultivated here are the pioneers of the human race. Every student here feels proud to be able to study at the Kendo Academy. Everyone cherishes the learning time and opportunities here. Just now, in the eyes of outsiders, Zhang Xian's wandering behavior is disrespectful to the ancestors of the human race. Zhang Xian, a new round of the 10,000 clans competition has arrived. As a student of the Sword Palace, although you don't need me, you can resist the immortal god now. But you must not slack off. The voice of Li Bai's admonition came, and Zhang Xian suddenly understood what he was carrying on his shoulders. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 7. The Lord of Humanity. How dare the gods bully our human race? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. 7. The Lord of Humanity. How dare the gods bully our human race? Who dares to say that my human race has no one? His words are cold, echoing between heaven and earth. Magnificent mountains and rivers, people are not afraid of gods. Above the 9 heavenly clouds, there are countless gods and Buddhas mocking the human race. With this voice, the originally mocking words suddenly paused. In the next moment, the immortal gods, demons, and Buddhas all cast their gaze towards the mortal land of Zhou Qing. In an instant, the person who said this sentence was locked in. I saw a young man in white clothes from the human race standing in front of a dark attic. Bare-handed, looking up at the sky. His face sinks like water, carrying boundless anger. The gaze of the gods, Buddhas, immortals, and demons in the sky instantly penetrated the roots and feet of this young man. Human race. My bone age is only 20 years. Cultivation. Mortal realm. It's better to be like ants in a fairyland. After seeing the speaker clearly, the sky suddenly burst into even greater laughter. Haha. I think the human race is really deserted. The vast human race, surprisingly only one weak crowned man stepped forward. For the sake of your courage, I will grant you death. The demon god who has just left the world of killing all races burst into laughter. Then, with a casual finger, a flicker of light rose up, rolling up a myriad of spiritual energy. Concentrate on a point and shoot straight towards Zhang Xian. In a short period of time, a powerful challenge from the demon tribe's heavenly court was beyond the imagination of those around them. Unexpectedly, the other party would not hesitate to kill Zhang Xian in anger in front of everyone. It can be said that this is completely rubbing the face of the human race against the ground. Dare you? The only teacher currently in the Kendo Academy, Qinglian's sword Lord Li Bai, let out a roar and flew up with his sword. A flash of soaring sword light suddenly appeared. It's as terrifying as the Milky Way hanging upside down. However, this sword energy, which is terrifying and powerful in the eyes of ordinary people, cannot stop the demon god's magic at all. Just let the sharp and highly condensed spiritual energy fingers pause slightly before continuing to shoot towards Zhang Xian. Zhang Xian looked at the finger that had condensed spiritual energy, his eyes wide open, and his whole body was filled with blood and energy. I want to get rid of the influence of my body being locked by the demon aura machine. However, the level difference is too high, it is of no use at all. Damn it, am I going to cheat on this today? Seeing that he was about to die and disappear, Zhang Xian's pupils shrank and his heart lit up with a flash of inspiration. The power of humanity. His golden finger, which can summon all the strong people of the human race in the long river of time. Unfortunately, it resonates with humanity. Motivate and borrow the power of humanity. With a movement of thought, the illusion becomes prominent. Like the ancestors of the human race, praying loudly to the heavens in the ancient wilderness. The sky is vast and magnificent. The voice of the human race worshipping ancestors is endless in our ears. That is the voice of the ancestors of the human race praying to heaven and earth to worship their ancestors. That's the beginning of humanity. This is the power of humanity. Bright and bright, noble and brave, the spirit possessed by many human races envelopes it. Like a curtain, like a sky. Not to speak, not to see everything. The boundless appearance seems to be everywhere. Like fireflies, shining brightly, appearing beside Zhou Qing. In an instant, it turned into a tightly clenched fist. In the next moment, the fist swung out suddenly. Bang! Puff! Ah! The fingers, highly condensed with spiritual energy, instantly shatter. The fist transformed from the power of humanity hit the demon god directly. With a scream, the flesh and blood instantly shattered and scattered in a shower of blood. A generation of demon race heavenly court demon gods, fallen. In an instant, the world fell silent. That demon god, although not a generation full of fame and fortune. But among immortals, demons, and Buddhas, there is still considerable popularity. More or less, he is also a demon god in the golden immortal realm that embodies the fruit of the great Luo Dao. A body full of magical power and profound Taoist conduct. In the past, we can even compete with the strong players at the quasi-holy level, with a small wrist wrestling. At least, it can also ensure a safe retreat. However, this generation of demon gods, in the blink of an eye falling into the hands of a mortal who is not in the fairyland. No, it fell into the hands of humanity. Has the demon god caused a humanitarian counterattack? Does the current humanity still possess the power comparable to the heavenly way? A skinny camel is bigger than a horse. A fairy subconsciously flashed this sentence in his mind. Immediately, they remembered a more important point. The power of humanity, why did it appear? You should know that the power of humanity can only be borrowed by the 3 emperors and 5 emperors of the human race. Even though Qin Shi Huang, who is now the Xian Qin, established his own Xian Qin and broke through the crown prince's status, he is not considered a human emperor. Qin Shi Huang was able to borrow the power of humanity, but it was only through the tools of national governance that he managed to muster some of the power of humanity. But what did they just see? Just because the demon god attacked that human race. The power of humanity unexpectedly took the initiative to protect the young human race. This I can't say what kind of new emperor Zhou Qing is. Many immortals were shocked and they thought of this. The power of the emperor is clear to them no more. Even to this day, even the heavenly way sages have no way of defeating the emperor. It can only be simply confined in one place, similar to imprisonment, trapped in the Huiyuan cave people's palace. There is great power that can be immediately derived through the power of the heavenly way. The result of deduction is the tide of chaos. After the Shang dynasty, there was no more emperor. Who is he then? How can one obtain humane recognition? Proactively protect the owner. Many immortals, gods, demons, and Buddhas fell into shock and silence. Not only the immortals, demons, and Buddhas, but also Zhou Qing's compatriots, the people of Xian Qin, stared at him in astonishment. Li Bai blew his beard and stared at Zhou Qing, his gaze full of disbelief. The students who used to study with Zhou Qing also looked at him with envy. At this moment, Zhou Qing ignored these gazes. He decided that the human race would rise. Starting from today and now. People worship the saints to repay the heavens. Heaven, why nurture 10,000 tribes, yet devour humans? Questioning from the soul, deafening and enlightening. This question can last up to 9 days, up to 9 seclusions. Even more so, under the protection of the power of humanity, it spreads to all worlds, vast and magnificent. The gods have no way. The world is in a daze. How dare and bully my human race? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 8. Worship to God. Worshipping. Why don't you worship me? You are listening at novelfull.audio. 8. Worship to God. Worshipping. Why don't you worship me? Zhang Xian's voice echoes like a bell in heaven and earth. The sky is filled with immortals and Buddhas, and there are demons from all directions. Upon hearing Zhang Xian's voice, my heart was shocked and enraged. What a big courage! Unexpectedly speaking frankly, the gods have no way, and heaven and earth are in chaos. This is condemning the gods, condemning the heavenly way. What are the gods? That is the vast world, the maintainer and executor of order for the operation of the heavenly way. Daring to say that the gods have no way is like slapping the face of the heavenly way. In the darkness, all immortals could feel a terrifying gaze falling from the 9 heavens of the primordial realm. That's not the gaze of the heavenly way sage. That's the gaze of the heavenly way. Honghuang ancestors' vision, many great powers have also been felt. But that's definitely not the feeling. The current gaze was filled with extreme indifference and majesty. In a daze, everyone in Zhou Qing's country. Everyone felt an extreme pressure. That's the power of heaven and earth. And it is also a deliberate power of heaven and earth. In an instant, the world fell silent. It seems that the gaze of the heavenly way has triggered a humanitarian response. Amidst the swirling clouds, a humanity as vast as a river appears once again. This time, it's not someone who caused it. But it's self-manifestation. Just to counter the actions of the heavenly way. It seems to be telling the heavenly Tao that if you want to target the human race at all costs, then just tear your face. Under the humanitarian response. Above the 9 heavens, the gaze of the heavenly Tao slowly disappeared. It seems that I don't want to go to war directly with humanity now. But in the moment when the heavenly way was fading away, a voice suddenly appeared in the mind of the top powers among the 4 demons and immortals in the sky. Weakening the humanitarian status as soon as possible. That was the voice of Emperor Honghuang, but the meaning in his words was extremely cold and rational. This is not what Emperor Honghuang meant, it's the way of heaven. This is the first time since the birth of Honghuang that the heavenly Tao has actively transmitted information to living beings. Even if this information was conveyed through the mouth of Honghuang's ancestor. Suddenly, many top talents understood what to do next. The sound of Buddha is melodious, and lotus flowers are blooming. A Buddha's phantom, even more majestic and towering than before, appeared in the sky of the human world. My Buddha has words. The human race has long fallen to the position of the protagonist of heaven and earth. So that you can join my Western religion as soon as possible, and have great freedom and great fortune. Please, Emperor, set the time for the next grand competition among the 10,000 ethnic groups. No, just today, 3 hours later. This Buddha's phantom is actually the Buddha of the Western heaven. As soon as the Buddha's words were spoken, he saw another immensely majestic Dharma figure sitting high in the clouds, wearing a 9-crown on his head and his eyes slightly drooping. Surprisingly, it is the great heavenly sovereign of the Shinto heavenly court, the Haotian god. The Buddha's words make sense, there is no need for too long a gap when comparing thousands of ethnic groups. Please send out candidates as soon as possible to enter the 10,000 clan killing realm and determine the world as soon as possible. Tianting Hea Genius just finished speaking, and surprisingly, the demon tribe from Tianting also emerged. I can still fight again. I just don't know if there are any capable people in the human race. Western Buddhas, heavenly gods, demon clan heavenly court, witch clan temple, Honghuang dragon and phoenix Kirin, even the ancestor of the demonic way, hidden in the wilderness, appeared above the Xianqin territory. Everyone is stirring up the mystical method, threatening the human race to immediately conduct the next race competition, spreading throughout the location of the human race. As the top leaders of various forces speak up, the disciples and disciples of various forces belong to them. It is also all about revealing the Dharma aspect, appearing in various parts of the immortal Qing and using language to provoke the human race. The human race looked at the sky full of immortals, Buddhas, and demons, gritting their silver teeth. I wish I could rush into the killing world of the 10,000 clans and fight against these immortals, Buddhas, demons, but most human beings know that they are not qualified enough. And depending on the situation, if the human race does not agree today, these immortals, gods, and demons will take this opportunity to once again weaken the aura of the human race. What is Qi Yun? It can be said that it is a mysterious existence closely related to all living beings. Gathering streams into the sea, accumulating sand into mountains. If the human race were to retreat today, then this luck would inevitably be reduced. So, the human race, there is no other choice. The only way is to promise. With the coercion of immortals and demons, many great powers in the human race began to run around. Search for someone with strong enough strength to enter the world of killing all races and represent the human race in battle. In the land of floods and wastelands, Guanjianku Erlangjinjuan Temple. This is the place where Yang Jian, the god of justice in the Shinto heavenly court, resides. On weekdays, nearby cultivators often see Yang Jian patrolling the four directions with his Maishan brothers and 3,000 grass head ropes under his command. The Erlangjinjuan Temple, with its doors always open, protects the people from all directions. But today, the temple gate is closed. A group of people dressed in the clothes of immortal Qin officials came to the temple, bowed, and then knelt down for a long time without getting up. It was a long time before the temple door opened slightly. A slightly haughty person emerged from the door. This person is undoubtedly the Maishan brothers under Yang Jian's command, one of whom is Captain Kong. Then, with a bitter smile on his face, he looked at many officials of the immortal Qin. It's not that my master doesn't want to help his own people. But even before you came, the master had already been summoned to the heavens. And we have been ordered by the heavenly Lord not to allow you to enter the temple. Speaking of which, Captain Kong paused slightly. If you don't mind, my skills are low, but I am willing to resign from this divine duty, bid farewell to Brother Yang, and go with you to the world of killing the 10,000 clans. Xianqin, as the chief official, also had cultivation in his body. Glancing at Captain Kong, but just entering the realm of Tai Golden Immortal. This kind of cultivation, to put it bluntly, is also cannon fodder when entering the world of 10,000 ethnic killings. What the human race needs now are powerful warriors. Instead of ordinary generals, the old official of Xianqin sighed and bowed his hand to Captain Kong. I didn't say anything, just stood up and left with the person. They understand that immortals, Buddhas, demons, and demons are already prepared. It is impossible for the human race to hire people so easily. This place doesn't work, then we'll move on. The pride of the human race knows nothing. Although it cannot be as complex as the stars, there are still many. Everywhere in Xianqin, we have already received orders to invite officials from all over to invite the human race's heavenly pride who are practicing here. Like the great deity of the three altars of the sea, Neza. Like turning around the human race, the former emperor of Donghua, now the sword immortal of the human race, one of the 8 immortals in the heavenly court, LV Dongbin. Like the initial human race, the great master of the human cult Xuandu. Or perhaps someone as powerful as Zenyuanzi. Xianqin has already sent people to beg for it all over. But so far, the capital of Xianqin is here in Xianyang, and we have received news. Please don't arrive. No one can be invited. The person to be invited was either taken away in advance or forcibly banned by the sect. The sky is filled with immortals, demons, and demons. I really won't give any chance. The person to be invited is basically invisible. Alternatively, those who can see it may simply refuse. I have no intention of contributing to the human race at all. Damn it, damn it. Bang. In the Kendo Academy, Li Bai angrily threw his sword cup, his face full of anger. Kicked down the table in front of him. Zhang Xian, who was sitting upright on the other side, also clenched his fist. It was unexpected for Zhou Qing to send people to seek help. But he couldn't even imagine that Zhou Qing couldn't hire anyone. Those who are not of human origin are fine, but there are also some pure human origins who do not recognize themselves as human. Directly rejected the person who went to request it. Zhang Xian's heart was like a blazing flame, filled with indignation. Since that's the case. Worshipping God and seeking holiness, not seeking oneself. Zhang Xian suddenly stood up, with a hint of resentment in his resolute expression. Once again, walk quickly to the entrance of the school palace. God Buddha, demon. Listen to me. Today you cut off the path of the human race. One day I will sever your lineage. Once again, utilizing the power of humanity, the voice reaches up to the heavens and spreads down to the depths of the heavens. Zhang Xuanfa finished venting his anger in his heart. Immediately, his gaze swept around and glanced at the crowd gathered nearby. In the next moment, lift your breath and let out the roar again. Human race. Why seek people? Seeking others is not like seeking oneself. A person should have the intention of not fearing death. Human race, from now on. Not afraid of immortals, not worshipping heaven and earth, not seeking others. Only seeking oneself. Speaking of this, Zhang Xuanmu showed a look of sadness and anger. Wait, if you insist, you must bow down. If I were to bow down to myself, I would bow down to the soldiers who are willing to enter the killing world of all races and abandon the concern of life and death. Alternatively, worship me. The immortals, gods, and demons who had been paying attention to the movements of the human race were immediately drawn to them again. They were already quite concerned, and there was another young man among the human race who could borrow the power of humanity. Now this son is once again speaking wildly. It immediately caught the attention of immortals, demons, and Buddhas. The immortal god couldn't help but speak sarcastically when he saw Zhang Xian's arrogant appearance. Oh, what a big breath. Little mortal realm, dare to speak recklessly. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 9. Emperor June takes action. Doufa Honghuang, First Heavenly Emperor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 9. Emperor June takes action. Doufa Honghuang, First Heavenly Emperor. Top-tier powerful immortals and goddesses, speak freely. Although that immortal had no intention of directly attacking Zhang Xian. But due to repeatedly speaking out against Zhang Xian, inspiring the morale of the human race, and speaking wildly, I really can't bear to see it. The fairy tale sound had just fallen, and a strong aura of immortal power descended straight onto the land of Xianyang in Xianqin. Poo-poo-poo-poo. In the blink of an eye, countless onlookers of the human race were crushed to the ground. Zhang Xian saw the situation and gave a solemn smile. Without any fear of the power of immortals, he waved his sleeve straight and took a step forward lightly. A trace of the power of humanity is inspired and borrowed. In an instant, the terrifying pressure of the immortal disappeared from you. The immortal god standing high above the clouds suddenly froze. Immediately, a look of impatience and frustration appeared on his face. Just now, they said they were in a small mortal realm. Unexpectedly, when someone raised their hand and lifted their feet, they resolved their pressure on the human race. Isn't this to say that he's not even as good as a human race or any other realm? Shame and anger surged in the heart of this immortal. I wish I could take immediate action and smash this person into countless pieces, demonstrating the authority of the immortal. But remembering that the previous attack by the demon gods of the demon tribe on this son caused a matter of human protection, which made him feel a bit hesitant to take action. His strength is not as high as that demon god. If he causes a humanitarian counterattack after taking action, it would be even more embarrassing, but now. There are countless immortals and Buddhas everywhere, and all the demons and gods are here. If you don't take action, your face won't pass. For a moment, the immortal was struggling to get off the tiger and didn't know what to do. However, at this moment, a sharp and ferocious aura suddenly appeared. In this chi machine, there is a unique barbaric atmosphere from ancient times, with a sense of imperial majesty that threatens the world. Surprisingly, Emperor Jun did it. Jumping clowns. Noisy. Emperor Jun, who had already changed into a clean outfit, appeared again in the sky, wearing a demon emperor crown and a golden and black emperor robe. Moreover, it reveals the laws of heaven and earth, as if stepping on the earth and reaching the sky. Even if ordinary people look up, they cannot see the full picture. I saw Emperor Jun, reaching out with one hand, as if covering the sky and sun, a mountain hanging high in the sky. He grabbed the inside of Xianyang with a fierce palm. Look at its target, it's actually Zhongxian. The terrifying aura firmly locked onto Zhongxian. No. It's because everyone in Xianyang has been locked down by the gas machine. Ordinary people can't move at all. Is this the generation of the demon court heavenly emperor? In Xianyang, everyone looked at the giant hand in anger. Subconsciously, there was some resentment towards Zhongxian from the Kendo Academy. Fortunately, most of the human race in Xianyang are not very panicked. This is the capital of the immortal Qin kingdom, equipped with formations personally led by Emperor Qin Shi Huang. Suddenly, someone's spirit flashed. I remembered something. That is, the city protection formation was established by His Majesty the First Emperor during the Tai Golden Immortal Realm. And now, Your Majesty is a quasi-saint. Demon Emperor. Emperor Jun. Also a quasi-saint. You're going to suffer. Thinking of this generation of people, I suddenly felt a chill in my heart. Staring intently at the sky. There, with the hand of Emperor Jun's Dharma minister, the Xianyang city protection formation has already been triggered. Like mountains and rivers shaking. Although there was a strong tremor, not a single house in Xianyang collapsed. On the contrary, 12 huge and incomparable human statues were erected from various places along the Xianyang city. Full body gilded. The golden light fills the sky, and the incense of the immortal Qin people, who have been worshipping for 100,000 years, lingers on it. The power of humanity flickers and surges in it. Surprisingly, it was the 12 golden figures forged by Emperor Qin Shi Huang. Zhongxian glanced at the golden people in surprise. I originally planned to show off my golden finger to fight against Emperor Jun. I didn't expect that there would be a henchman of Emperor Qin Shi Huang in this city, truly worthy of the title of Eternal Emperor. Even in a world full of immortals and gods, it is still so excellent. Za, Jinggu. Bull Batch. But can this formation withstand the demon Emperor Jun? Doubts flashed through Zhongxian's heart, his gaze fixed firmly on the golden men in the palm of Emperor Jun's Dharma. Surrounding Xianyang city, countless voices of human prayers can be heard from around the 12 golden men. That is not the current human race praying. But in the long river of time, since the establishment of Xian Qin as a country. Every Qin citizen, a prayer for various beautiful wishes. The power of humanitarian faith generated by these prayers has been fully integrated into this Dharma form. In less than a breath, a humanoid light and shadow appeared above the city of Xianyang. Grasp your fist with one hand and wave it fiercely towards the palm of Emperor Junfa. At the same time, from the ninth heaven, there came the voice of Emperor Jun's surprise. Ha! Imitate the formation of the 12 heavenly cities, Pangu formation of the witch clan. It's a bit interesting, but the formation I is too weak. As soon as the words fell, the rapidly falling palm caught the fist of the humanoid light and shadow mage. Ha! What is the power of sentient beings' wishes? Humanistic faith. But that's it. Emperor Jun whispered a few words in a soft voice, and the hand that had shot out suddenly ignited a terrifying flame. The sun is so hot. Jiang Jigang. Mighty and unparalleled. In an instant, the flame directly enveloped the body of light and shadow, burning wildly. A series of terrifying screams came from the human light and shadow. That is a scream belonging to the human race. It's like a immortal Qin person being burned to death in the flames. In less than 3 breath time, the 12 golden figures condensed into a light and shadow technique. It was completely engulfed by the true fire of the sun, burning into a sky full of human golden light, scattering from the sky and then disappearing. The 12 golden men were even more scorched by the true fire of the sun, losing their spiritual light. And Emperor Jun's Dharma palm will not pause for any reason. Still grabbing towards Zhang Xian, his palms forming claws. I seem to want to grab Zhang Xian in the palm of my hand and crush him like an ant. At this moment, Zhang Xuanmu's eyes were shining brightly, and his thoughts completely sank into the depths of his consciousness. Instantly communicate and recognize the special consciousness in the sea, which can connect with humanity and summon all the strong members of the human race. He wants to once again hook up humanity. With the power of humanity. Counter-attack Emperor Jun. Let the gods and Buddhas in the sky know. Even if it's just a mortal race, it's not something that can be underestimated. In the dark, the power of humanity emerged directly from Zhang Xian's body. The golden light flows like a wilderness, like mountains and seas. The heaviness is indescribable, the majesty is invisible, and it remains undetectable for a long time. The river of humanity, once again descending. Zhang Xian was a bit surprised. He found that the humanitarian power he borrowed this time was different from the previous one. Or rather, he seems to have borrowed impure human power. There is also an essential energy level and the power of humanity, similar to the power of humanity, rushing towards us. With a thought, Zhang Xian suddenly realized. And then I became even more puzzled that power is nothing else, it's merit. Humanistic merit. Ah. But where did he come from for his merits? Zhang Xian was a bit puzzled. But now is not the time to think about these things and gather your thoughts. Zhang Xian guided the power of humanity and the power of human merit to condense into a small golden red sword that was no more than the size of a thumb. Then, reach out and give it away. Even ants dare to turn the tide. Seeing Zhang Xian's movements, Emperor Jun sneered from above the 9 heavens. In the next moment, resolutely and without hesitation, he grabbed his palm towards Zhang Xian who was within reach. He didn't even see clearly what Zhang Xian was sending out. Puff. Emperor Jun used the path of the demon emperor, surrounded by spiritual energy in essential demon elements, to condense the Dharma palm, which suddenly disintegrated. No, it's not just the palm of the Dharma. Within 3 breaths, the entire Dharma aspect of Emperor Jun. As if the burned material, like ashes, transforms into the essential spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and directly dissipates. Emperor Jun clearly felt that even the consciousness that he controlled the Dharma was erased, as if it never existed. Puff. Suddenly, Emperor Jun couldn't help but spill a mouthful of demon blood. His face was filled with shock and anger. This was the first time he had suffered such a serious injury since the start of the 10,000 clan competition. Even during his struggle with Emperor Qin Shi Huang, he never suffered such injuries. The power of humanity. The power of humanitarian merit. Like an eternal flame. Burning wildly inside his body, consciousness, and soul. If it weren't for him being a quasi-saint level. I'm afraid it's not impossible to fall into the realm like this. This son can actually mobilize the power of humanity. He has merit. How unreasonable. Human race, you dare to play with Yin. Emperor Jun thought angrily in his heart. Later, Emperor Jun glanced at the projection of the divine, Buddha, and immortal forms in the sky, snorted coldly, and left with a brush of his sleeve. He needs to go back for treatment. In the land of the western sky, the Sanskrit sound is constantly heard. The Buddha sat high on the nine-colored lotus, but no longer had a compassionate gaze. On the contrary, there are some doubts and some solemnity. The human race is causing a surge of humanity. The power of humanity has increased by a few points. Start the next race quickly. Let the human race convert to my Buddha as soon as possible. Thinking of this, the Tathagata immediately triggers the projection of the Dharma phase, and the sound of Buddha echoes through the earth of the human race. 9 hours have passed. If the human race does not send anyone to enter the 10,000 clan killing realm again, it will be considered a loss for the human race in this game. What do you think? Okay. Good. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. Chapter 11. The Order of the Supreme Will. Cross-border and. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 11. The Order of the Supreme Will. Coming from across borders. Fight for the human race. Xuan ancestor, who was just standing above the immortal Qin Emperor Palace, suddenly turned his head. My gaze fixed on the sky. There is an incredibly majestic aura emerging. This aura gave him a strong sense of crisis. Who is coming? People of the human race. Xuan ancestor guessed in his heart, his gaze fixed on that place. Not just Xuan. At this moment, the immortals, Buddhas, and demons all cast their gaze towards that place. Many top-notch talents utilize the power of the heavenly way to quickly deduce. Attempting to deduce a person's identity. However, surprisingly, nothing can be calculated. Shocked. Even the 3 emperors and 5 emperors of the human race cannot leave any trace in the wilderness. Who is the newcomer? Surprisingly able to evade the power of the heavenly way. Even the saints who have already achieved the fruit flavor of the heavenly way sage cannot prevent themselves from leaving no trace in the wilderness. Although saints don't need to do that. But this is enough to demonstrate the shock of many immortal, Buddha, and demon forces. To the east of the wasteland, 9 layers of cloud sky. The magnificent power is as majestic as a sword. A golden glow fills the sky, a fierce fire of humanity. Like a burning flame, like the voice of 10,000 people singing. Long river of humanity. Emerging again. That's the essence of the river of humanity. 9 days above, there came an incredibly surprised voice. This is the voice of a saint. Even the sage of the heavenly way has seen the true river of humanity for the first time. This long river of humanity seems not to be within the flood. Also attached to the wilderness. Seemingly distant, immensely vast. The saints sitting in the chaotic dojo from afar are all trying to explore the long river of humanity with their own holy knowledge. But they were all amazed to discover, with their power. Unexpectedly, it is impossible to explore the edge of this long river of humanity. It is even more impossible to explore what is hidden within this long river, which almost covers the entire flood and even more majestic. Suddenly, all the living beings who were paying attention to this long river of humanity felt it. It seems like something has jumped out of the river. Before the experts can fully explore, there is an incredibly arrogant and decisive energy. Suddenly explode. Foam, the ultimate will. Coming from across borders. Fighting for the human race. Coming from across borders. Fighting for the human race. Coming from across borders. Fighting for the human race. The unbridled announcement sound seemed to announce the extraordinary achievements of the newcomer. The figure that appeared incredibly small in the long river of humanity jumped out of it. But at an extremely fast speed, they arrived at the sky outside Xianyang city. Then, unable to pause for less than a breath, my gaze scanned the entire city of Xianyang. Suddenly lock in a bit, then step out. Unexpectedly, he arrived in front of Zhang Xian. Master. I'm here. The newcomer's face was arrogant and unrestrained, but his gaze towards Zhang Xian was extremely respectful. In the depths of Zhang Xian's eyes, a surprised expression flashed through. Zhang Xian knew that this was because of the characteristics of that consciousness. Any strong human beings he summons from the river of humanity will obey him. Li Qingshan. As his thoughts turned, Zhang Xian instinctively called out the other person's name. Master, just call me Qingshan. The other party's rebellious face showed a hint of a smile and said. In Zhang Xian's eyes, Li Qingshan was dressed in an imperial cloud-patterned robe, with swords and sticks slung around his waist. It looks carefree and domineering, with a wonderful temperament that is approachable yet unstoppable. He is Li Qingshan. Zhang Xian summoned the strongest human race from the world of the great sage. Becoming the god of that world, the domineering emperor who controls the world of the 5 continents. This is just Li Qingshan in Zhang Xian's eyes, and Zhang Xian knows the root and bottom of it. At this moment, in the eyes of all the human cultivators who are paying attention to the situation here, they only feel that Li Qingshan is unfathomable. After all, Li Qingshan is a person who has jumped out of the river of humanity. Although I don't understand what it specifically means, I'm definitely not a weak person. However, it is such a strong person who just called Zhang Xian the Taoist master. Master, what kind of title is this? Surprisingly, there is only a one-word difference with the founder of Taoism. Honghuang Daozu, that's Hongjun. Zhang Xian, how dare Zhang Xian let others call him the Taoist master? What kind of identity is he? For a moment, the swordsmanship school students who used to be classmates with Zhang Xian all looked at Zhang Xian with shocked and complicated eyes. Even Li Bai looked at Zhang Xian with a vague and inquisitive gaze, his eyes filled with astonishment. In Li Bai's eyes, Zhang Xian at this moment seemed to be shrouded in mist, filled with countless secrets. For many ministers of Xian Qin, they don't care so much, now they only know one thing. Someone seems to be very strong. Strong enough to divert the attention of the demon master Kunpeng. Human race, there is still hope. The thoughts of the immortal Qin minister were complex, and they did not expect that the human race's heavenly pride, who had been invited all along, would not come. On the contrary, a stranger from the human race has arrived. This is the view of the ministers of Xian Qin. At this moment, in the eyes of countless immortals, Buddhas, and demons from all directions. Stop in front of Zhang Xian at Li Qingshan. They finally got a glimpse of the real face of the newcomer. Countless powerful immortal consciousness, divine consciousness, holy intention, Buddha intention, and demonic thoughts swept towards Li Qingshan. Intent to understand the details of the newcomer. Human race. Cultivation. Fanjing. Countless immortals, Buddhas, demons, and gods were all stunned. Is the scene so grand that it turns out to be a mortal realm? What did humanitarian Chief Hanoi throw out? In front of Zhang Xian, Li Qingshan felt the various consciousness energies sweeping over him recklessly, and his brow furrowed. What Li Qingshan can perceive, Zhang Xian can naturally feel it as well. This is the ability bestowed upon Zhang Xian by the consciousness in his mind. Feeling the gaze of those immortals, Buddhas, and demons, Zhang Xian sneered. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 12. If the Taoist is not satisfied, even Li Qingshan is not satisfied. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. 12. If the Taoist is not satisfied, even Li Qingshan is not satisfied. Ha! Just as Zhang Xian was preparing to make Li Qingshan counterattack and let these immortals, Buddhas, and demons eat a handful of dust. But I heard rampant laughter coming again from above the 9 heavens. Is this the foreign aid that your human race brought in? Just a cultivator from the mortal realm. Huh, I'm laughing my head off. The words of Xuan ancestor echoed within the realm of Zhou Qing. Just saw all the human races of Li Qingshan. Stupid. Fan Jing. It's fake. How could it be a mortal realm? Being in a wasteland, every human race knows. Don't wander freely in the wilderness until you reach the fairyland. Because of the risk of falling, it is uncertain that if you pass by any place, you will have a magical power. Or perhaps the aftermath of a powerful battle can easily destroy a pile of mortal realms. For the countless immortals, Buddhas, and demons, there is no difference between a mortal realm and a mole ant. Just a slightly stronger mole ant. And now, Xuan ancestors' words are clearly told to everyone. Li Qingshan. Just a mortal cultivator. A clearly strange feeling appeared in the eyes of the students near Zhang Xian. They felt inexplicably twisted all over. Just because they held a very respectful attitude towards Li Qingshan just now, thinking that Li Qingshan was something powerful. I didn't expect. Just a mortal cultivator like them. Zhang Xian felt the gaze around him and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. He understood how everyone felt at this moment. Zhang Xian can come up with an incredibly appropriate metaphor to describe the feelings experienced by these students. It's like seeing the back of a beautiful woman that evokes endless imagination. As the other party turned around, she was a 10,000-year-old woman with a face full of grooves and grooves. This contrast, no matter who, will be impacted. However, Li Qingshan and I are not some eternal women. Zhang Xian looked at the expressions of the students around him and inexplicably thought with amusement. At this moment, the ridicule of the human race by the heavenly immortals, Buddhas, demons, and demons continues. How about it? Did your human race decide to let this person face our seat? Xuan ancestor tied up his sleeves and brushed his finger, pointing towards Li Qingshan from afar. Li Qingshan, pointed at by Xuan ancestor, squinted his eyes in an instant. A dangerous aura flows through the eyes. In the Xianqin Emperor's palace. This Xian. Prime Minister, I suggest sending someone quickly to take away Zhang Xian and the young man who came out of the river of humanity. Otherwise, I'm worried. Zhang Xian said a few more words. There's really a top-level expert who disregards his face and directly kills him. A minister expressed concern. Upon hearing this, Li Si's pair of grey beards trembled slightly. The most important issue now is not this, but our human race is already struggling to get off. Can you hear what the young man who just appeared said when he came out of the river of humanity? Coming from across borders, fighting for the human race. I don't know what secret technique he used to make this voice spread throughout the wilderness. Speaking of this, Lise couldn't help but sigh. If he doesn't go up now, wouldn't it be a joke for all the tribes in the wilderness? More importantly, the humanitarian luck may be further weakened before the start of the game. This matter is not appropriate. Li Si rejected the old minister's proposal. Many old ministers furrowed their brows and found that the situation was indeed as Li Si had said. In their eyes, currently, the most important thing for the human race is not someone. But it's about human luck. Every bit of human luck is incredibly precious. The young man who appeared next to Zhang Xian was also of the human race. The words have spread throughout the wilderness. If we don't fulfill it, we may really lose a bit of our humanitarian luck. This kind of thing must never happen. Hey, since that's the case, Prime Minister, why don't we first protect that Zhang Xian? He seems to have a strong connection with humanity, we should save him. Well, that makes sense. Li Si nodded at the words and replied. Then he frowned and lightly tapped his hands together. A soldier wearing armor carrying a spear walked into the main hall. Go, inform General Wang to take someone to protect Zhang Xian and bring him directly to the palace. The General Wang mentioned by Li Si is the famous general of Xian Qin. Wang Jian. Although not as good as Xuan, he is not a great warrior and not a great warrior. But it has the ability to resist the quasi-saint and slay the Dalai Lama. His overall strength is comparable to that of the top de Luo Jin Xian, terrifying. It can be said that besides Bai Qi, Li Si has already sent out the most capable warrior of Xian Qin at present. And this is just to protect Zhang Xian and Li Qingshan. In Li Si's speculation, there must be some secrets about Zhang Xian and Li Qingshan, which are related to the secrets of the long river of humanity. Within the human race, anything that is involved with humanity. That's a big deal, no wonder he's so cautious. In the main hall, the soldiers followed orders and left. In less than half a pillar of incense, a large number of immortal Qin soldiers quickly arrived at the Kendo Academy. Within 2 breaths, it will be listed as a war. Soldier-killing machine, boiling in an instant. Triggering the stars beyond the 9 heavens. The power of countless stars, beyond the control of the heavenly court, descended straight down. This is the power of the soldier-killing formation. You can bypass the star gods and celestial gods in charge of the stars and directly activate the essence of the stars. Let the power of the stars be used by the human race. Not to mention, the person leading the formation is Wang Jian, a renowned military strategist of the immortal Qin dynasty. Watching the human race send troops to protect the 2 human race boys among them, Xuan ancestors' expression became solemn. Although they are not afraid of the immortal Qin army's killing formation, it is also troublesome to deal with these people. What, are you coming to be our opponent? Xuan looked down at Wang Jian in armor and asked. Upon hearing this, Wang Jian shook his head and couldn't conceal his smile. I am just a mortal cultivator, practicing the martial arts. No matter what, it's not a match for the quasi-saint. I'm here just to take these 2 kids away. Upon hearing Wang Jian's answer, Xuan sneered. Since you have self-awareness, why don't you retreat? Or perhaps you can join me in the world of 10,000 ethnic killings and compete with me. Upon hearing this, Zhang Xian couldn't help but twitch his lips again. Good guy. Surprisingly, I was underestimated by my own people. The human race thinks that cultivators in mortal realms are not good. Unable to harm immortals, gods, demons, and Buddhas with mortal bodies. Since that's the case, let me and Li Qingshan show it off. What does it mean that even mortals can kill gods? The immortal. Luosheng. Upon realizing this, Zhang Xian immediately stopped hesitating and took a step forward. Scan all the human compatriots around with angry and uncompromising eyes. Absurdity. I'm not convinced. My human race, why should we submit to the heavenly Tao system? Why do we think that mortals cannot kill gods? Or do you say, you have already lost your bloodline to fight against immortals, demons, and Buddhas? Zhang Xian's voice is deafening and heart-wrenching. Today, let's start with me, Zhang Xian. Tell everyone. Ordinary people. You can kill gods, slay immortals, and fall from grace. The overwhelming grandeur soared into the sky. Li Qingshan, standing behind Zhang Xian, had a smile on his face. This kind of Taoist is very in line with his taste. So, let's go together. With a sudden thought, a deafening announcement came from Li Qingshan's mouth. As the Taoist master said, so do I. Starting from me. Killing gods with mortal bodies. Slaying immortals. Falling from the Holy Spirit. Words are resolute and irrefutable. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 140,000 ethnic groups. The 21st battle begins. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. 140,000 ethnic groups. The 21st battle begins. Looking again, the figure of Li Qingshan. It has already appeared in the world of 10,000 ethnic killings. The sky was filled with immortals and Buddhas, and demons from all directions gathered their gaze on him. Xuan ancestor, who was still standing above Xianyang city, twitched his lips vaguely. As one of the top talents of the old brand in the wilderness. This is the first time he has been ignored like this. How unreasonable. Looking back at Xianyang city, in front of the Kendo Academy. Many students in the school palace now showed a look of shame and surprise on their faces. To their shame, they found that they had truly lost the courage to wield swords against immortals, as Li Qingshan had said. It seems that realm determines everything. But in reality, as long as their strength is strong enough, there are many cultivators of the human race like the Qing of crossing the river. There are countless formations and mysterious techniques that have been passed down. As long as you are willing, as long as the human race is willing. Take out the courage to fight for everything. These immortal gods and demons from all directions dare not threaten the human race like this. What kind of race competition? Everything is just that the human race has lost the courage to resist all races and fight to the death. And what surprised them was this. Li Qingshan, clearly perceiving the past, is really like what the immortal Buddha said. He is truly a cultivator in the mortal realm. But at this moment, from behind Li Qingshan, there is a huge and towering bull magic-like figure in the sky. He is definitely not a weak person. Most people even think in their hearts that they want Li Qingshan not to enter the world of killing all races, so as not to lose the face of the human race. Now it seems that the other party is indeed extraordinary. At least, there is definitely a qualification to enter the world of killing all races and fight against top powerhouses. This can be seen from the attack of the immortal just now, which was easily defeated. With thoughts running high, many human races looked at the figure within the Xuan clan killing realm with complex and respectful expressions. At this time, the representative sent by the Xuan ethnic group, Xuan ancestor, also entered the Xuan ethnic killing boundary. Junior. What method and path are you practicing? This seat cannot perceive your strength. Xuan ancestor, the famous old Yin Bai in the wilderness. But today, directly in front of others, expressing my doubts. In fact, Xuan ancestor is indeed very curious. At the same time, after Li Qingshan summoned the magical image of the cow, Xuan ancestor's heart once again felt a chilling sensation. Terrifying, thrilling. This time, Xuan ancestor clearly affirmed the source of intuition. It's this human race, Li Qingshan. Suddenly, words came from outside, interrupting the thoughts of Xuan ancestor. He, Xuan, don't be defeated by the one-man clan. Shame on us, the old generation in the wilderness. Upon hearing these words, Xuan ancestor frowned and felt ashamed and angry. The speaker must be one of the old and powerful heroes, but they only hear their voice and do not see their figure. Only contemporaries of the same era dared to call him by name. Xuan, be careful, this human race kid seems to be eccentric. He doesn't seem to be practicing the principles of heaven and humanity, but rather some kind of essence of the Tao. Another voice came, but it was a reminder. The sages have just deduced that the details of this son of the human race cannot be revealed, and they are all covered up by humanity. Xuan Dao friends need to be more cautious to avoid capsizing the boat in the sewer. Many contemporary figures, their voices or outspoken statements, came from outside the world. Or transmit the sound to the ears, making Xuan hear it. Among them, there is nothing more than one meaning, just wanting Xuan ancestor to quickly take action and explore the details of the opposite side. As his thoughts flowed, Kunpeng pressed down the anger in his heart. Among the people who spoke to him, there were also several from the 6 saints of the Honghuang. What kind of temper, but it's inconvenient to have a fit at this moment, so as not to be put on small shoes by several saints. Across the street, facing Kunpeng's doubts, Li Qingshan just smiled with an indescribable meaning on his face and then said something. Do you want to know? If you want to know, come and give it a try. Li Qingshan's answer made Kunpeng a little angry. It's not asking about the secret of the Dharma, but asking about the cultivation of what path it is and not answering, blatantly not giving face to Kunpeng patriarch. Since Li Qingshan said to give it a try, then give it a try. With a sudden change of thought, a mysterious method suddenly appeared. A purple-red gourd once again appeared in the hand of Kunpeng ancestor. Hush! 99 Scattered Soul Gourd. Originally, it was formed by a congenital Honghuang spiritual root at the foot of Buzhou mountain. This spiritual root has 7 spiritual treasure gourds. One of them is undoubtedly the purple-red gourd in the hands of Kunpeng ancestor now. At first it was obtained by Hongyun, who was also a member of the 3,000 guests of Zixiao. Later, due to the dispute over the throne, Hongyun's ancestor was ambushed and killed by Kunpeng's ancestor and others. I think it was at that time that the scattered soul gourd fell into the hands of Kunpeng ancestor. The veteran superpower among the gods, Buddhas, and demons in all directions couldn't help but sigh when recalling the past. Immediately, they began to pay attention to whether the opposite human race could survive under the scattered soul gourd. Yes, alive. Even many of the top powers in the wilderness, except for the sage and the great Luo. Ordinary creatures want to seek a glimmer of vitality under the 99 scattered soul gourd. That must have top-level soul protection techniques. Scattering souls, as the name suggests, the main technique of this gourd is aimed at the level of human soul. If there is no soul protection method, basically, one will definitely die. In the midst of the wandering thoughts of the gods, within the realm of the 10,000 clans, Kunpeng ancestor has already offered up the 99 scattered soul gourd. On the gourd, there are twinkling innate road patterns. A mist resembling smoke gushed out from the mouth of the gourd and flowed directly towards Li Qingshan. Upon seeing this, Li Qingshan raised his eyebrows, his gaze slightly solemn, as he gazed at the eerie mist rushing towards him. In less than 2 breaths, Li Qingshan was shocked to find that his mind was tingling. In an instant, Li Qingshan understood that the magic hidden in this gourd was actually an attack on the true spiritual level of the soul. After understanding, Li Qingshan couldn't help but take a surprised look at Kunpeng ancestor. In Li Qingshan's heart, he didn't actually attach great importance to this Kunpeng ancestor. But at this moment, Li Qingshan couldn't help but glance at the scattered soul treasure offered by the other party. Good thing. I want it. When, dedicated to our Lord. With a gentle smile, Li Qingshan's mind moved. Once again, a terrifying and towering statue emerged. At the moment when the Dharma appeared, the immortals remained silent and the demons shook. That Dharma is like an immensely huge mountain hanging in the sky. Take another look. What a terrifying turtle. The turtle's shell stretches for millions of zhang, causing the space beneath the millions of zhang to instantly fall into darkness within the killing boundaries of all races. The shock of immortals goes beyond that. At this moment, among the immortals, Buddhas, and demons gathered in the sky, there are many sea creatures born, or even those who have achieved success in turtle cultivation. These top cultivators of the sea tribe or turtles have a dull expression. Continuously murmuring to oneself. How could it be? How could it be? How could there be such a mysterious turtle in the world? It's impossible for blood to be so refined. It's impossible. Ha ha ha, I must have entered the fantasy formation. Faxiang, against Faxiang. False. False. The minds of these cultivators are almost plunged into madness. They cannot accept what they perceive. The mysterious turtle mage summoned by the human race Li Qingshan. Surprisingly, there is a blood and spiritual charm. More incredibly pure. The purity of blood vessels. Compared to the highest ancestor in their bloodline inheritance. But who is the supreme ancestor of 90% of the creatures in the wilderness? You should know that everything in the wilderness is born from the wilderness, while before the wilderness. It was Pangu. Or, it could be the transformation of creatures left by innate gods and demons in the wilderness. These ancestors within the bloodline inheritance of these creatures are either Pangu or innate gods and demons. The characters from before the opening of the sky. The only person currently suspected to be from before the opening of the heavens is already in harmony, that's why they can't accept it. Why can such bloodlines still appear in such an era? Moreover, it is the Dharma form cultivated by the human race. These immortal gods, demons, and demons, whose bloodline is restless, have stirred up a chaotic will that almost drives them crazy. They cursed frantically, wishing that Li Qingshan would die immediately under the 99 scattered soul gourd. The feelings of the immortals are only fleeting. Xuan ancestor has already realized that something is wrong. In his perception, amidst the mist of dispersed souls, Li Qingshan is actually still alive, and is walking towards him step by step, as if strolling in the world, carefree and carefree. Xuan ancestor couldn't help but widen his eyes, and his magical power surged in his hands, once again triggering the scattered soul gourd. This time, he used all his mana. Extreme motivation. Even more eerie, emitting a terrifying aura, a mist that seemed to be about to devour someone spewed out from the mouth of the gourd and dispersed in all directions. Gradually surging towards the surroundings, it seems to be spreading the entire world of 10,000 ethnic killing. Among them, most highly condensed and dispersed soul mist. Sometimes transformed into dragons, sometimes transformed into various exotic beasts and demons, incredibly ferocious and terrifying, charging towards Li Qingshan. The terrifying situation, dangerous aura, even the human race outside the killing boundary felt it clearly. It's done. That's a legendary innate spiritual treasure from ancient times. 99 scattered soul gourds. The human race said with a look of despair. No, I believe Li Jusher wouldn't just fall into it like this. Xuan ancestor, who hasn't reacted for half a day, is he waiting for Li Qingshan to melt into that eerie mist? Within the territory of Xianqin, all the human race looked towards the world of killing with concern. I'm afraid I'll see Li Qingshan's body in the next moment, or maybe there won't be even a body left. Just as everyone was worried about Li Qingshan's safety, the eerie mist that almost shrouded the boundaries of the 10,000 clan killing world suddenly began to gather. No, it's not a collection. What absorbed all these scattered soul mist? Has Xuan ancestor already killed Li Qingshan? So let the 99 scattered soul gourd gather the mist. The mist gradually dissipated, and the scene within the boundaries of the 10,000 clans kill gradually became clear again in front of all living beings. Hiss. All sentient beings who saw the situation within the killing realm of the 10,000 clans gasped for breath, and even the 4 demons and demons of the Mantian god Buddha couldn't avoid vulgarity. There are living beings within the killing boundary of all races. That is the world created by the humanitarian saints of the human race and the saints of the heavenly way together. There are many creatures among them, even reaching the level of strength of the great Luo golden immortal. However, at this moment, those areas covered by scattered soul mist. At this moment, only bones are left everywhere. Some withered bones emit an immortal aura of gold that's the skeleton of the Luo Jin Xian. 99 scattered soul gourd. Terrifying. The Luo Jin Xian was just affected by the mist and couldn't hold on, he couldn't even escape. So how is Li Qingshan? Is he still alive? All the creatures who pay attention to the killing world of these 10,000 races have this doubt flashing in their hearts. The human race tugged at their hearts, and the eyes of immortals, Buddhas, demons, and demons looked forward to weakening their humanitarian luck once again. As the mist was quickly absorbed by something, someone finally discovered the clues. The direction in which these mist surges is clearly the direction where Xuan was before. As the last bit of soul-dispelling mist is absorbed, everyone knows the reason why the mist of soul dispersal has dissipated. Surprisingly, Xuan. He's absorbing the mist. Everyone saw Xuan standing with a mouth open, on the edge of only a small area of scattered mist. Then those mists were continuously swallowed by Xuan. Xuan is still strolling in the air, his clothes are not dirty at all. At the end of his route, there was a gourd emitting a mysterious light, still spitting out a mist of scattered souls. This. Xuan ancestor, with a ghostly expression on his face, stared fixedly at Xuan. Since he was born in the wilderness, he has received the 99 scattered soul gourd. He saw for the first time that he could directly devour creatures in the mist of scattered souls. Wait, what does he want to do? Xuan ancestor's face changed dramatically, and he looked at Xuan, who had already walked to the 99 scattered soul gourd. He saw that Xuan lifted his hand and grabbed the scattered soul gourd. The gourd quickly shrank and returned to its normal size when Xuan grabbed it, just enough to be held in his palm. And Xuan ancestor also clearly sensed that the 99 scattered soul gourd was in contact with his mind and spirit, and quickly passed away. Stop it for our ancestors. Xuan ancestor, you're in a hurry. Hiccup. Linguasian High, Phoenix Nirvana. It is one of the cultivation methods in this sect, which can control the true spirit and protect the mind and spirit. Hiccup. Xuan's eyes sparkled brightly, and he lightly patted his lips with one hand. He couldn't help but burp twice, his face still full of satisfaction. For others, the terrifying mist of dispersed souls, for him, it is a first-class soul tonic. Glancing at the gourd in his hand, Xuan smiled. Wipe off the imprint belonging to Xuan ancestor on it casually, and then throw it outside. The Jojo soul scattering gourd suddenly transformed into a stream of light, breaking through the barrier and falling towards the Xianyang of the immortal Qing. Looking at the rapidly disappearing gourd, Xuan ancestor had a gloomy expression and frowned. At this moment, he really wants to go find the gourd immediately. However, thinking of Xuan's recent act of swallowing the mist of scattered souls, Xuan decided kill him first. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 15 Supreme Supreme Supreme, Supreme Holy Supreme. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. 15 Supreme Supreme Supreme, Supreme Holy Supreme. Did you give away your ancestors' gourd? Xuan's gaze pierced through a realm and landed directly on Zhang Xian in front of the Kendo Academy in Xianyang City. Zhang Xian seemed to be aware, with an incredibly brilliant smile on his face, and shook the gourd in his hand. Humph. Xuan's heart suddenly froze, and the impulse of the strong ninja rushing over placed his mind again on Xuan. Young generation, good. You're doing well. Gritting teeth, words popped out from the corner of Xuan ancestor's mouth. Since that's the case, let me show you. Why is this place called Ancestor by various immortals and gods? As soon as the words fell, Xuan ancestor pointed them out. A demonic text emerges. The next moment will be 10, 100, until 1,000. The Honghuang demon clan has a total of 3,000 demon texts. Xuan, who was revered as a demon master, directly summoned 3,000 initial demon texts. A demon text with immense power. Amazing. Countless human races, watching the demonic writings revealed by Xuan in the world of killing, all fell silent. This article actually has a considerable connection with the human race. It is rumored that at the beginning of the human race, there was no writing of their own. Until the birth of Emperor Fuxi, the first generation of characters belonging to the human race was created. However, in reality, people who lived until the past life of Emperor Fuxi were aware of the relationship between Fuxi and the former demon clan Heavenly Court. Emperor Fuxi actually borrowed demonic texts, and those who knew it understood. Later on to the Yellow Emperor, there was a person beside him named Cangjie, who was a historian of the Yellow Emperor. He was dissatisfied with the writing created by Emperor Fuxi and did not completely detach himself from the influence of demonic texts. Moreover, the human race is unable to utilize the power in the demon text. Immediately, perform another heroic feat from the human body, observe heaven and earth, and walk between mountains and rivers. It took many years to finally create the truly human language. The initial word of humanity. Just like the mystical text of the Heavenly Way, it can explain the ultimate principles of heaven and earth, and stimulate the power of heaven and earth. Even better than the heavenly Dao Xianwen. The human race uses the first generation of humanitarian writing, which can drive the power of humanity. So, in other words, Yaowen can be said to be the elder of human script. Although it's unpleasant, in fact it is. Li Qingshan looked at the 3,000 demon texts surrounding the demon master Kunpeng, emitting a terrifying power. I suddenly understood that it was not time to hide my strength anymore. The terrifying aircraft suddenly exploded. In a daze, it seems like Pangu is still alive. All immortals, demons, and demons have a chilling heart. The terrifying phenomena of a cow, a tiger, a turtle, a phoenix, an ape, and a unicorn suddenly appeared between heaven and earth. This person can actually manipulate 6 terrifying mages. More powerful than the 3 heads and 6 arms of a certain divine being in the heavenly court. As is well known in the past, the divine power of the Dharma of heaven and earth can usually only be condensed by one person. Being able to gather one is already enough to consume the energy of most living beings for a lifetime. After the condensation phase, it's time to polish the phase. But unexpectedly, this son of the human race. Surprisingly, 6 great Dharma forms have gathered. What's even more terrifying is that each of these Dharma forms has the power of a quasi-saint. It's really amazing. Different methods, different paths. Amidst the chaos of the 9 heavens clouds. A palace that reveals infinite Tao rhyme sinks and floats in the chaotic airflow. The 6 saints of the heavenly way are among them, and this is undoubtedly the legendary Purple Sky Palace. At this moment, the 6 sacred hearts and gods trembled and quickly bowed in front of them, bowing and bowing. Greetings to Daozu. It's Daozu, but not a teacher. Just because the former Hongjun has already merged with the Tao, strictly speaking, the former teacher of the Holy Way has disappeared. The remaining is the Heavenly Way Hongjun, not the Hongjun of the flood and wilderness. In front of the 6 saints, a white-haired old man wearing a bright yellow Xuanite suddenly appeared. The whole body is full of qi, sometimes not merging with the surroundings, sometimes merging into one. If there were ordinary cultivators from outside here, they would definitely be surprised to discover. There are countless paths in heaven and earth that seem to be visible on the old man with white hair. After the path, there is the heavenly way. The heavenly way. Weian, unparalleled. High and unattainable, the utmost love, reason, and holiness. Just now, that was naturally what Hongjun said. I just don't know if it's the heavenly way or Hongjun. Daozu, can there be a decree? A white-clothed monk with a kind expression and a sorrowful expression bowed to Hongjun and asked. He is naturally the legendary saint of the Western religion. The Jain Taoist. / the odd number. Hongjun raised his head slightly, revealing his eyes hidden by his gray-white hair. It is no different from the heavenly way and harmful. It should be beheaded. The extreme coldness was revealed in Hongjun's eyes, even when he was directed, his heart trembled. The teacher is getting closer and closer to the state of heaven. The thought flashed through my heart, and the next breath immediately responded. Yes, Daozu. Ben Sheng will have Kunpeng kill him immediately. Kunpeng can't do it. Before Hongjun could finish speaking, the bright and majestic power of humanity suddenly appeared in the purple sky palace. Then the power of humanity and Hongjun disappeared together. The 6 saints looked at each other with disbelief on their faces. Although they felt that the human race boy named Li Qingshan seemed to have some connections. But it's not even impossible to defeat the veteran quasi-saint in the wilderness. That was once the 3,000 guests of Zixiao, and in the past, they even competed with some of them for the Holy Throne. Demon Master Kunpeng, can't we deal with a human cultivator who appears to have other supernatural powers but has a complete cultivation in the mortal realm? It's impossible. Unless the other party has already reached a quasi-holy or even higher level on another path. Many saints have their thoughts spinning, reminiscent of what Hongjun Daozu said, as if they have come to understand. But they still don't quite believe what Hongjun said, even if the other party is a sage of the Hadao looking down in the world of killing all races. Li Qingshan and Kunpeng face off from afar. The two of them have fierce qi. Like immortals, like gods, like demons, like supreme beings. At least in terms of momentum, there is not much difference between the two. In the eyes of others, it looks like this. The same lofty and majestic, terrifying. Well, there's some leverage. If you can take my sword, I will plead with the Taoist to spare your life. Li Qingshan said, somewhat surprised, with no decrease in his pride on his face. Even if the other party is the legendary demon master Kunpeng in mythology. In his world, there are also traces of the flood and famine, and Li Qingshan naturally knows what the flood and famine mean. Does he not value it? Not necessarily. Because he understands better that his master behind Li Qingshan, the divine light of the 6 Dharma masters flowed, and in the next moment, one hand suddenly grasped the sword at his waist. Humph, arrogant. The demon master Kunpeng saw Li Qingshan's movements, and although he was wary in his heart, he still didn't want to be inferior in his mouth. He directly rebuked with disdain on his face. Are you arrogant? He, then take the next knife. Let me show you my sword. Is it worthy of Shangwu's arrogance? Just finished speaking Qingming outing in happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 16. The world is uncertain, who dares to say defeat? You are listening at novelfull.audio. 16. The world is uncertain, who dares to say defeat? A blade of light blooms. The blade shines brightly, dazzling across the 3 realms. 9 heavenly clouds, 8 blessed places, 5 mountains, 4 directions of Huangyang. 9 Yudi mansions. All vibrate. Countless weak monsters and ghosts, in the moment of being cut out by the blade. Unexpectedly, he was directly killed by the Dao Yizhen that came from across the border, leaving no real spirit left. And within the realm of Wanzu killing, the demonic master Kunpeng, who was facing the blade's edge, was even more agitated with his pupils shrinking and his entire body full of magical power. Instantly, transform into reality. A giant Kunpeng beast, covering the sky and blocking the sun, hangs in the sky. Countless mysterious formations emerged and appeared in front of Kunpeng, trying their best to block the shining blade. What even scares the sky of immortals, Buddhas, and demons is that the blade of the spatula is filled with an incredibly pure and humane aura. This. How could it be? Another human race has emerged that can borrow the power of humanity. Bang. Slash with a sharp blade. Formation, broken. Xuanfa, tear. Magic weapon, slay fly. If the methods offered by Kunpeng were to be completely ineffective in front of this spatula. As the spatula was about to strike him, the demon master Kunpeng was full of magical power and was ready to resist the blow. Suddenly, just at this moment, a touch of holy and mysterious power fell on the head of Kunpeng. The Buddha's light appears, and the wishes of all beings scatter recklessly, condensing into lotus petals. Wrap the giant Kunpeng beast inside. Pop, pop. Pop, pop, pop. A series of shattering sounds, with the blade piercing through countless layers of lotus petals condensed by the wishes of sentient beings, still exuding astonishing power. But between the lotus petals that seem to have countless layers of space, they can never fly to the end. With countless lotus petals emerging, quickly consuming the power of that blade. Li Qingshan sheathed his sword and furrowed his brow. Outside, the human race is making a huge noise. Surprisingly, there are saints who directly intervene in the battle of the killing world of thousands of ethnic groups. Cough, Ben Sheng, lend the merit golden lotus to the demon master Kunpeng, is there no problem? Above the 9 heavens, the voice of the sage can be heard from afar. Zhang Xian looked at the Wan clan killing area. The 9th grade merit golden lotus hanging on the head of the demon master Kunpeng couldn't help but darken its face. Western sages even lent their innate merits and treasures directly to Kunpeng. Shameless. Shameless to the extreme. As a saint, one should be so shameless, just like the original works of a vast wilderness, the most shameless saint in the world. Zhang Xian felt angry and worried about Li Qingshan's situation. Li Qingshan was summoned by him, so he naturally knows his strength. From the consciousness within the sea that could summon the human race, Zhang Xian could feel that in order to wield this sword, Li Qingshan's mysterious power was non-existent in his body. Xuanli, a power equivalent to spiritual and magical power, although not equal to combat power, also affects a portion of combat power. Due to different cultivation systems, Li Qingshan's strength can be judged to be at the peak of the quasi-holy peak compared to the vast wilderness. Even if it's an old and top-notch expert in the wilderness, the demon master Kunpeng can still fight with all his might. Not to mention that Li Qingshan still possesses the special technique of 9 transformations of gods and demons. But now, the sage actually intervened. And even more, he lent his innate virtues and treasures to Kunpeng with a beautiful name. In this way, Li Qingshan will inevitably fall into a bitter battle. After all, the demon master Kunpeng is not a vegetarian either. Zhang Xian's thoughts flowed, pondering on ways to break through the situation. Suddenly, the special consciousness within the sea of consciousness trembled. Zhang Xian's gaze immediately lit up. At the same time, within the boundaries of the Wan ethnic killing. Above the 9 heavens, once again a stream of light falls. These are 2 magic treasures that emit a radiance of 10,000 Zhangdao rhyme. They are a blue treasure flag and a sparkling and colorful treasure tree. In an instant, immortals, demons, and people from the human race recognized what these 2 treasures were. It is the green lotus and precious color flag of Western sages, and the 7 precious trees. Western sages, in order to weaken humanity as soon as possible, absorb people from the human race into Western religion. Surprisingly, he spared no effort. Some people can think of it this way. Immediately, countless human races felt desolate in their hearts. They didn't expect that the so-called sage would be so shameless. Blatantly cheating on the demon master Kunpeng. I'm not convinced. A human race broke through their fear and disregarded everything, roaring wildly into the sky. If someone takes the lead, naturally others will follow suit. The voice, wishes, and hatred of human beings echo in the human realm. Vast and magnificent, merging into the sound of humanity. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. Listening to the roars of dissatisfaction from a large number of human races towards the saints, 4 of the saints in the Zixiao Palace glanced at the 2 members of the Western Church. 2 Western sages, indifferent. Just a quasi-Taoist, feeling a bit embarrassed and distressed. In his eyes, the human race is ignorant of good and evil. With a moment's thought, he sneered and whispered to the lower realm. Disagree. Okay. This saint also allows your human race, allowing your 3 emperors and 5 emperors to provide treasures to that human race. Just finished speaking, ready to reach out and brush. All kinds of mysterious methods emerge, shooting straight towards a certain place in the wilderness. Between heaven and earth, suddenly a roar rang out. Xuan, dare you! Countless elderly cultivators of the human race trembled all over. That is the voice of one of the 5 emperors of the people. Damn it! What did the sage of the heavenly way do to provoke the anger of the emperor? In the Zixiao palace, after completing what he thought he should do, the Grand Tutor Shi Shiran sat on the palace's cushion. Just before taking action, the Xuandi Daoist realized that humanity, for some reason, was not in the midst of the chaos at this moment. Therefore, he had a temporary opportunity to deal with the 3 emperors. In fact, he even wanted to destroy the human race more, but when it comes to the idea that humanity is also a path, it would be too uneconomical for humanity to stare at themselves and cause trouble after the extermination of the human race. So, he only used the mysterious method of the heavenly way to restrict the Huiyin cave where the 3 emperors and 5 emperors were located for a while. Let the 3 emperors and 5 emperors temporarily be unable to help Li Qingshan. With a moment's thought, Xuandi Daoist's gaze continued to cast towards the lower realm, mocking the human race boy within the Wan clan kill realm, waiting for him to be violently beaten by Kunpeng. Within the boundaries of the Wan ethnic killing, Li Qingshan naturally heard the voice of the Xuandi sage. But he resolutely replied. I am a human race, so I should not rely on that precious treasure. Wait a moment, I'll use my 2 fists to smash this demon master Kunpeng. After speaking, he rushed straight towards the demon master Kunpeng. The demon master Kunpeng has now returned to the state of innate Dao body. Ha ha ha. Even the sage wants you to die. Kunpeng laughed recklessly and then urged the 3 treasures, 1 to protect himself, 1 to attack, and 1 to invade. Suddenly join forces with Li Qingshan. Our emperor. Why hasn't he appeared yet? The heavenly way sage has already intervened. Please invite the emperor to give you the treasure and help Li Qingshan defeat Kunpeng. In the main hall of the Qin emperor's palace, old officials with extremely urgent expressions spoke to Li Si. Li Si's mouth twitched. Where are you asking me to contact the 3 emperors now? The token that can guide us to the Huiyin cave where the emperor is located has long been taken by that group of ministers. Have you forgotten? Upon hearing this, many ministers were dumbfounded. After a long silence, the minister spoke softly. No, let's temporarily lower it. Let's lower it. It is important to temporarily preserve Li Qingshan. As the strong members of our human race, if we can have 1 more, we will have 1 more. With these words, the atmosphere became even more silent. Many ministers couldn't bear to look at Li Qingshan, who was in a bloody battle with the demon master Kunpeng, in the illusion mirror. In the illusion mirror, Li Qingshan was already covered in blood, although extremely brave and powerful. But it's hard to match the fact that the other party has the tool of a saint. There is a huge gap between saints and quasi-saints. Even an ordinary holy artifact can increase the strength of a quasi-saint to a terrifying level. At least, it can also threaten other quasi-saints in the same level. Sad emotions reappear once again. I thought Li Qingshan was a person of the ability King Quanlan, but I didn't expect that the heavenly way sage disregarded his face and directly intervened in the battle for the killing of the 10,000 clans. How could this be fought? Not many, just give up. Someone thought so. Go. Announce the decree, notify. Notify the people, we. Prepare to give up in this battle. The first emperor was not present, and the others were received by the emperor without the emperor's token. Li Si has lost his mind in front of the Kendo Academy. A student ran up to Zhang Xian and whispered a few words, which immediately made Zhang Xian pale. Unexpectedly, news has spread from the immortal Qin emperor's palace. Human race, prepare to give up. At this moment, the news of the human race's surrender had already spread throughout Xianyang City and spread to the outside world at an extremely fast speed. Zhang Xian bit his teeth, anyway he was about to gain strength. Even if you step forward now, it won't matter. The important thing is that the human race cannot give up now. Just now, the consciousness in his mind that could connect with humanity and summon the human race to the strongest once again spread a message. That is to say, as a Taoist, he can possess all the combat power of the summoned person. That is to say, Li Qingshan can do it, he can do it all. However, inheriting these will take some time. Actually, it's quite fast, but it only takes 3 sticks of incense. There's still 1 stick of incense left. With a moment's thought, Zhang Xian suddenly took a step forward, and some of the power he had already inherited surged in his body. In the next moment, it appeared over Xianyang City. No accurate. Admit. Lose. Angry roars echoed through the city of Xianyang and continued to spread further away. Who said the human race lost? The human race won't lose. The fate is yet to be determined. Who dares to say defeat? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 24. Profoundly planning and seeking peace. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 24. Profoundly planning and seeking peace. Go, chaos battle. After Fahai finished speaking a sentence, the huge Dharma face shook slightly. All immortals and human races. I just feel that in a blink of an eye, the Buddha's Dharma has disappeared and disappeared. Looking back at the sky, the projection of the sage also disappeared. Zhang Xian walked out with the green snake beside him and arrived at the gate of the Wanzu killing realm. Within the boundaries of the Wan clan killing realm, Li Qingshan is suppressing the demon master Kunpeng. The fierce momentum frightened countless immortals. Why, a human race is just a quasi-saint. Surprisingly able to suppress an old and mighty god. I can't understand. That's the demon master Kunpeng. 3,000 guests from the former Zixiao palace. The immortals, Buddhas, and demons looked at the world of killing with complex eyes, feeling quite lost in their hearts. They are already aware that Li Qingshan, a human race, is not practicing the path of immortality. It is not currently the mainstream path of cultivation in the past. Not to mention the humanity practiced by the human race in the current flood and famine. The Honghuang human race utilizes the principles of heaven and earth, combined with the human power that can be triggered by the human race, to become powerful. And Li Qingshan is not. There were already some great abilities that gradually regained their flavor in the hands of Li Qingshan and the demon master Kunpeng. Li Qingshan cultivates a completely different power system. A body of great strength, similar to the practice of the heavenly way, belongs to oneself. But unlike these immortal gods, although they practice the heavenly way, they are actually under the jurisdiction of the heavenly way. Simply put, if one day the heavenly way suddenly disappears, their strength as cultivators of the heavenly way will be greatly affected. But it seems that Li Qingshan doesn't know. At the time when Li Qingshan and Kunpeng were already in a heated battle. That wave of Tao rhyme, like the avenue of heaven and earth, flows between the inside and outside of Li Qingshan fist. That is the power of the Tao. Not the heavenly way. How could that be so? Didn't Li Qingshan come out of the long river of humanity? Why is it not the power of humanity that cultivates? The immortal is extremely puzzled, but unfortunately there is currently no answer to his question. This is the level that beings who focus on spiritual cultivation see. And in the vast wilderness to the west, where the Buddha shines brightly. On the Lingshan mountain, the figure of the Buddha in the temple has disappeared and disappeared. At this moment, the Tathagata has arrived 30.3 days away, in chaos. In 100,000 years, it is enough for the Tathagata to achieve the ultimate sanctity and comprehend the slightest hint of divine meaning. Unfortunately, the most important foundation for sanctification is missing. It's already the end. The power of the quasi-saint enables the Tathagata to navigate through chaos without fear of chaotic currents. Soon, he arrived outside the Purple Sky Palace. On the other side of the Purple Sky Palace, there are two beings with boundless Dharma forms, fighting each other. These two opponents are naturally Fahai and Saint Xuan. However, it's not like ordinary cultivators do. It's not just a confrontation on the Tao realm. There is a way to follow oneself and refute Buddhist principles. In the confrontation of the Tao realm, Xuan seems to have the upper hand, but he cannot completely crush it. At least for now, he has noticed that the monk across from him is as if he is truly a saint, having the same essential power as him. Sages, immortal and immortal, rely on themselves in the path they cultivate. The great road never dies, the sage never dies. Be elevated to become a saint of the heavenly way. The way of heaven never dies, so there is no such thing as the exhaustion of power. Fahai also understands this. His weakness lies in that he is the false saint promoted by Master Zhang. My true spirit has not yet been fully placed within the path I am cultivating. Just now, I borrowed the aura of Honghuang from Zhang and was promoted to the holy realm. Moreover, it can only last for 1 day. However, this day's time is not a day's time for Fahai. He is currently fighting against the sage. The space is in chaos. The time and space here are unclear, there is no real concept of time. So, the duration of this holy realm is a day when the Tao advocates mysticism. Thinking of this, Fahai felt a bit anxious in his heart. He volunteered to help the Taoist master solve difficulties, not to embarrass himself. The moment Zhang appeared in his world, Fahai understands. What kind of opportunity does the Taoist represent? What is the Taoist master? One Lord. What path did Zhang cultivate? Fahai is not sure. However, one can be called a Taoist by humanity and be relayed to the world's top powerful individuals in humanity. Absolutely representing a bright future. With a moment's thought, the Buddha's power exploded, forming a ferocious real dragon, walking in chaos. Directly remove the sacred Dharma from the opposite side and transform it into a mundane object. At this moment, I heard the voice of Xuan coming. Although I don't know where my friend practiced Buddhism from. But after practicing my Buddhist teachings, I should be a Buddha, not a human race. There are countless beings in heaven and earth, and the theory of race is only superficial. While fighting, the Xuan Taoist was preaching to Fahai. Upon hearing this, Fahai's mouth twitched and he returned straight. As the sage said, don't pay attention to the saying of the roots. Since that's the case, the sage should not transfer your fundamental qualifications to the monk and promote the spirit of Buddha as a sentient being. Then go on a cycle of reincarnation. Listening to Fahai's rebuttal, Xuntio's heart sank. What an eloquent human monk, dare to argue in front of me. Let's see if we can convince you. Xuan Taoists have great confidence in the Western teachings they practice. Before engaging with Fahai, he made up his mind to admit this monk to the shaman. The talent of Western shamans withers, and the land of the West is extremely barren. Western education requires such talents. With such a mentality, the Xingdian did not exert all the power of the sage at all. Therefore, Fahai fought back and forth with the Xuan Taoist. I was stunned to see the saints of Xixiao Palace and the top experts who arrived here. What is this doing? The water was also too obvious. You don't even know if you mention the sage, but is this someone summoned by the human race to specifically support the 10,000 clan Dabi? Quickly remove it. Many great experts were constantly slandering their subordinates, but when they realized that the target of the slander was a saint, they didn't say anything. On the side, the Buddha of the Western heaven, the Tathagata. After arriving at the Zixiao Palace, he went directly to the heavenly Taoist. Master. With a sorrowful expression on his face, he looked at the Tongtian sect leader staring at him and the 4 immortal slaying swords displayed behind him, and fell silent. The Tathagata reversed his image in front of all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and 3,000 Arhat, and showed a simple smile on his face. Like a mortal, standing in front of the leader of the Tongtian sect, respectfully greeting him. Today, outside the Purple Sky Palace, there are many great powers gathered. All the great powers watched this scene and suddenly came to their senses. In the past, there was a great calamity of being sealed as a god, and many treasures were transformed into Buddhas. They entered the Western Heaven Shaman. There is another insider to preach Mahayana Buddhism and establish Western Buddhism. Otherwise, in the past, I personally passed on the first disciple, and after betraying the sect, I would still appear in front of Tong Tian to pay my respects. Will Tong Tian not wield his sword and strike him? This I can't say for sure. In the eyes of many great powers, Tong Tian's temperament is not yet so good. There is a great ability to watch this scene and suddenly look back on the past of being a god. Felt that the mutual calculation and teaching seemed to be worth it. This wave. Xian Men is the one with deep foresight. Insert a chess piece into the west and divide the western luck. Many great powers have looked at the former Jiejiao Duobao, and now the western Tathagata is shining brightly in their eyes. And what they can think of, how can saints not think of it? In an instant, everyone suddenly turned their gaze towards the white-clad monk and the quasi-Taoist who were fighting each other. Just the right person. What does he want to do? Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.